Let's take a look at this chart that you guys had so much trouble with when we were talking about the size of the Hawaiian volcanoes in this bar graph analysis. So let's first take a look at the graph. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different volcanoes that we're looking at in the Hawaiian Islands. And instead of using the names, because number one, they're so difficult to pronounce, but number two, the lines on our paper are so thin, let's just number them and then we can refer back to the numbers. We'll say Kahala is 1, Iwalea is 2, Mauna Loa 3, Mauna Kea 4, and Kilauea 5. Okay, so let's just number them that way. Now let's take a look at our bar graph here before we start doing anything. What is it actually showing us? These numbers on this side right here is showing us the area. That's how much space that island is taking up, the area of the island itself. These numbers over here are telling us the elevation, which is actually the same as the height of the volcano. Notice that we have bars here, and the bars represent the area of the volcano. Then we also had these little squiggly lines or arrows. That represents the elevation of each island. It's really important when you're looking at graphs and charts like this that you take a minute and you look and see what everything means on the chart before you start answering any of the questions. Okay? Now, since we numbered these, let's go ahead and take our choices here and put numbers beside them also so we don't get confused. We made this 1, we made this 2, we made this 3, we made this 4, and we made this 5. So now it asks us, list the volcanoes in decreasing elevation. So we're going to go from largest to smallest. Elevation, we know, is over, the numbers are on this side, and they're represented by these lines of arrows. So we have to figure out which one of these lines of arrows here is the highest to start off with, because that would be our one with the greatest elevation. We're going to say that it's number 4 right here, just by a small amount. That would be our highest elevation. Right away, we can see our next elevation down would be number 3. Now we're down to this one, and this one. Obviously, this one right here, you go across, is a greater elevation than 5 or 1. So then we're going to go to 2. The next one, now we're down to 1 and 5. And if you'll notice right away that the next largest between 1 and 5 is, we go all the way over, and then over here, then we're going to go 1, and our lowest elevation is number 5. Okay? So we've done our elevation there. Now let's take a look at our next question. It asks us, list the volcanoes in decreasing size. Well, our graph here does not tell us the size. It doesn't say size, but it does say area. So the area is going to be the size of our island. So we're going to look at our bar graphs. The bars represent the area. So we're going to go from greatest area to smallest area. Again, we put numbers on these, so let's see which one has the largest bar graph. Definitely number 3. Our next one, definitely number 4. Then we go down to 5, 2, and 1. Not so bad after you take a small amount of time to figure out what it's telling us here. The next one, and I heard this gave you guys a little bit of fits here, is list the volcano in order of decreasing height. We said height was the same as elevation. With that said, number 3 is going to be the same order as number 1. So let's go with 4. 3 is next, 2, 1, and 5. And let's double check that and make sure. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 5. Okay? Our last one is, again, you have to think into it. It says decreasing age. So we want to go from the oldest to the youngest. Now, with that said, is there anything on this chart that tells us about age? Oh, there really isn't, is there? But what have we learned about volcanoes? We learned with volcanoes that as they, especially the ones in the Hawaiian Islands, as they start to erupt, they start to add more land mass. So with that said, the older they are, the more area they're going to take up, the more land mass that's going to be created. So with that said, if I'm going to be going from oldest to youngest, I'm going to be going from the greatest area, which means it's been around a long time, so that I could accumulate that much area, to the smallest area being the youngest. So with that said, if we know that our oldest goes along with our greatest area, and our youngest is our smallest area, then we know that this answer is going to be the same as number 2. All right? And we know number 2 goes 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. I hope that helps to explain this for you so that you understand what we're doing on this chart, because we need to be able to slow down and look at these graphs and charts and figure out what they're saying, and to think ahead. You know, do we know that height and elevation are the same? Do we understand enough about the making of the volcanoes, especially in the Hawaiian Islands, that the older they are, the greater area they're going to take up? So I want you to take a minute and make sure that you have your sheet right here and that you understand how to do this chart. Most of you did very well on the opposite side, where you had to put them in order of which space took up which. And so I'm not worried about this side. This was the side that most of you had trouble with. I hope this helps.